Welcome to the podcast, everyone. Today's guest is a powerful voice in the world of spiritual awakening and ascension. She is a professional psychic channel, ascension guide, and spirituality teacher who works directly with the Akashic Records, galactic families, ascended masters, and angelic consciousness to bring through ancient wisdom for our modern evolution. Through her masterclasses, courses, private coaching programs, and the Ascension Academy, she supports students around the globe in experiencing profound activations and life-changing transformation. Her mission is to help you remember the truth of who you are, the I am presence within, so you can live in authentic joy and consciously create your new earth. Recently, having an incredible past life regression with me, which includes her channel transmission from an Arcturian being, Commander Lightbringer, I welcome to the podcast my cosmic friend, Annie Perry. Hi, Annie.
Hi, Mayra. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. And thank you for our regression session and having me on your podcast. I'm absolutely delighted and honored to be here to share with you and your community.
Thank you. I had so much fun. I know this was a long time coming to connect with you in that way, right? So
Yeah,
thank you for being here.
thanks. Yeah, I'm really excited. We had such a great, really profound session, and even before the session, we had a lot of cosmic things begin to happen. And so it's really become this kind of testament that energy knows no time or space. And I think us meeting was also a result of that too.
It was. And I know we shared during our session a little bit because we were live. And after you woke up, we talked a little bit about how we met, and it was very interesting how I reached out to you because it came from the Lyrans. The Lyrans, I was sort of talking to them one night about my book project that I'm working on, and I'm just laying there, just connecting with them. And what I heard was to check a podcast, right? And so I reached to my phone and I put podcasts about Lyrans. And there you were. It was all perfectly unfolding, right? There you were. It's like, just check the podcast, it's there. And I listened to the most incredible transmission about the Lyran Wars, which my book project is about. And I just, in my heart, knew I needed to reach out to you. Like, this needs to be a part of the book. And it took me weeks. For some reason, I thought, well, what if she says no? She doesn't know me. And what if she says no? And I remember, to be honest, I did some mushrooms. Okay. I did some mushrooms and I was thinking about what I had heard and about reaching out to you. And what I heard is she's going to say yes. Stop worrying. Stop, just reach out to her. And that's when I went onto your website, emailed you. I'm like, can we have a Zoom meeting? Because I have to tell you something really interesting, an interesting story. And you did respond. So I'd love to hear, when you received the email, what was your thoughts? Like, who is this person? What is happening?
Right. Right. It's interesting, just going back to the energy knows no time and no space. Right when I saw your name, I knew that I knew you. And it wasn't that I knew you before, it was that I was going to know you in the future and that we were going to become friends and, work together and co-create all of these incredible experiences for our communities to enjoy. And so when I saw the email, because as you might know, like we get a lot of emails, I get a lot of pitches to come on podcasts or to speak for people or to co-create things, and not everything is aligned. And so my guides, who are extensions of me, we're always kind of sorting through, and there was never a question. I saw your name and I just knew that it was a yes. My guides were like, yes, like this is all divinely oriented. And so I felt very strongly. I mean, I am a channel, and so I tend to tap into pretty quickly people's oversoul and kind of these larger soul groups that they're a part of. And so one of those soul groups that immediately came through was called the Merlin. So I keep calling Mayra Merlin. The Merlin, which is an incredible group of Blue Ray Masters. And then there's also the Saint Germain, which is an incredible group of Violet Ray Masters. And so, many of our souls are a part of these groups, and that those are maybe some of the identities that my oversoul recognized you very clearly from.
Aww.
And so I was like, oh, it's Merlin, it's Saint Germain. Like they're reconnecting. And yeah, there was never any question. And when I heard that it was about, the Lyrans, that transmission. So for the listeners, over the many years, I have been channeling the stories of the Galactic Wars. And the Lyrans first came to me and allowed and asked me if I would co-create and be kind of the voice for their story to come through, but that they would send the transmission. Now, I never incarnated in Lyra. I was never a true, original Lyran being, original Adamic being. I get the, honor of existing in one of those descendant templates now, but I was never there with them. But I was a willing voice. I was a willing Akashic record keeper and a storyteller. And so they sent the transmission through, and that transmission has always belonged to them. So I never considered it as belonging to me in any way. And so when you came and said, I'm writing this book about, the Galactic Wars and the stories from many of your clients who were there in Lyra, that's their story. So what came through me, like it belongs to them. And so for me, that was like the no-brainer part of this story is further going where it belongs in this reality, to help those descendants of Lyra, to help them bring those experiences during the wars to conclusion and to peace within them. And that's always been the point of telling that story, is so that they can kind of open up that really ancient cosmic wound and allow it to come back into reconciliation. And it's been years since I first channeled that one. And so it's a living transmission. And I'm just, I'm floored that it's going to be a part of that the two transmissions are going to meet, and they're going to continue doing what they're meant to do in this reality.
I love that. Thank you. I know. I believe it's going to help a lot of people in their awakening. There's not a lot of information about Lyra.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe this is going to be very powerful for those that align with it. So thank you. Thank you. So that's how we met.
Super cosmic, super galactic.
It was. So last week, we went live and had an amazing past life regression. There was something that you already knew, that you had the life in Mesopotamia. You had already perceived it and seen it. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I, as an Akashic record keeper in a channel, can go into many of my own past lives. And I have been able to bring a lot of those, wounds or soul fragments, like back into reconciliation. Some call it soul fragment retrieval, and just, healing those different traumas and things that happen in other lifetimes. But this specific lifetime, I'd never really been able to bring it all the way to conclusion. And what I was reflecting on before we jumped on here was that I really feel the energy began to shift the moment that I set the date with you. Mm-hmm. And it happened to be 2/2. It happened to be on February 2nd. And Lyra gave me Mayra
Mayra from Lyra. Yes.
Mayra from Lyra. Mayra gave me a list of dates that she had available openings, and I immediately picked, February 2nd, 2/2, whatever portal we were going to create.
Yeah.
And I think that I set that in early December, maybe late November, but I feel like the energy, now that I'm looking back on the past couple of months, I feel like the energy began to shift then, because the core wound in this Mesopotamian lifetime that I started to come into my awareness, that was the one that I wanted to heal with you, that I wanted to just be able to fully let go, fully let that version of me speak and have their moment. And I feel that the energy began to shift because the core wound was around being seen, being safe to be seen, being safe to shine really brightly. And really starting in December and January, everything leading in the weeks leading up to our session, it was like the energy just started to already unlock, and it was like there was all of this movement and momentum around me and around my work, and I felt already like I was being more seen and more safe to be seen and more safe to show this work to the world. And it all kind of culminated on that day. And so I think that that has to do with this idea that, energy knows no time and space. So the moment that I agreed to the date, it was like that energy that we created on the actual date expanded and started to affect me back in December and in January. And then we actually get to that date and we get all of the answers about what was locked inside of that lifetime and what was wounded and what hadn't been understood by my soul, the core lesson that hadn't been understood by my soul. And that lifetime it started to come in really strongly when I listened to your pre-hypnosis, which I think is such an incredible thing that you offer. Mayra sends this recording to you when you book your session, and you start listening to it days before you actually have the regression, and it starts to really open you up. And your energy, Mayra, is really powerful. It's really, really strong. It's got a very strong violet ray energy to it. And it started to really open me up even more. And I thought I was already an open Akashic record, an open book. But it started to unlock other lifetimes, elemental lifetimes, the dragon one I told you about. And then this Mesopotamian lifetime became so clear that it was like, this is the one you're going for. And that visibility wound. Do you want me to talk about, that lifetime exactly?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah. So I was a Mesopotamian dancer. I was kind of an orphan, in these ancient civilizations, and really up into the modern era. Anyone that was an orphan or didn't have, parents with means would kind of end up on the fringes of society and sort of find their way through coming into groups, coming into community with other people and trying to all survive together. And so I kind of lived in this home that this woman had created, where we were all performers, and most of us were girls and most of the girls were dancers. There would be a couple of boys there too. And there was no men that were allowed to live in the house, because that kind of disrupted the idea that these are all performers. And she didn't want any. I think her name was Deja.
Yes,
which is really interesting. Like when you're fully dropped in, I just remembered all of the names. And even when I regressed myself, I didn't remember all the names. But she immediately said, this is which is an ancient Mesopotamian city. I immediately looked it up after we came out of it and saw like the most incredible temple that's still there. It looks like it's straight out of Dune. It's geometric, and it was just exactly how she described. She was like, you were asking me like, what is the city like, what does it look like? And I was like, the buildings are made of earth. And you could tell she was very, very young, very innocent, didn't really have a big vocabulary, and was just kind of observing her world around her, maybe for the first time. And she described that it was hot outside, that there were all of these gateways to the city, which archaeologists have confirmed. And I never knew the name of the city. I had only known that it was one of the ancient Mesopotamian cities, and there was multiple rises and falls in that civilization. She immediately goes, oh, this is and, described all of the city and where she lived with all of these girls that were all performers. And she wanted to be the best. She perceived herself to be the best. And probably at that time, maybe she was. It probably wouldn't have been that hard to be the best out of, 10, 13 girls. But she wanted to be the best, and really her dream. And I can see from my point of view how she was really reaching for the stars back then, because no one coming from that low standing place in society would have told people that their dream is to be invited to live at the palace by the king, to be one of his performers that live inside the palace, which meant that you were the best. And so I kind of had this very youthful, like, big dream, no hesitation, no reservations.
Yeah.
I wanted that with everything inside of me, and I wanted to be the best dancer. And what I have known for a little while is that I talked to you in the regression about, that I told you, you were like, what do you love about dancing? And I said, I love that everyone's waiting for me, that they're excited to see me. And I go into this flow state and I become something more. And when I was in the regression, it's like there was three of me. There was Annie Perry's awareness, right? So my identity now. There was Mina, who was the Mesopotamian dancer. And then there was like my soul, and my soul who knows and understands both lifetimes perfectly. So there was like three of us in there kind of observing this conversation. And what my soul started telling me is, when you were in that ancient Mesopotamian lifetime, you were channeling dance that they perform in your current era. So dance that was performed in, I've been alive since 1991, so probably since about 1998 to 2015, which is probably the last time I paid attention to dance moves in this reality.
Yes.
But in there, she says that trance moment that I would go into while dancing, that I think a lot of performers or musicians can attest to. When you're really good at something, you go into a flow state, you go into a trance. And she was channeling from my point in time dance moves that would not have existed in her era. And that's what made her so good. That's what made her so unique, such a shock factor, that she was able to do something that no one had ever seen before. So I thought that was another great example of, like, time doesn't exist. You could be channeling yourself from so many multiple points of view. Yeah, it's really incredible.
Yes, it is. Thank you. So everyone's going to hear the session as well. Let's talk about the not wanting to be seen part that you've been experiencing. How was that showing up in your life today?
Yeah, I run my own business, and I'm the face of Wellspring Official, and I'm a channel, which means that I'm a trance channel. And so it means you got to be seen. I have all of the socials and my own podcast for many years, and YouTube, and places where spirit is calling me to be the face of my work. And I've done well, but I always felt like I was still holding back. Like I was still, like, there was still this hesitation in me, especially around galactic topics, especially around New Earth and like what's coming on the planet. And I just felt like there was this risk that if I really allowed all of it to be seen and heard by the world, that someone would want to hurt me, that someone would not like what I had to say, and that they would want to hurt me physically. And so there was this physical fear, and there was so many sleepless nights that I could not sleep, because I had this fear that, because of the work that I do, that someone was coming to hurt me. And nothing in my reality had ever affirmed that belief. No one had ever hurt me. I've experienced some ostracization and, you know, some black sheep energy from being the only psychic spiritual person in my family who is very religious, very traditional. And I've experienced that in the family unit, which ironically is kind of where the other soul that I was at odds with is also in my family unit
Right.
from ancient Mesopotamia and now. But I just had that fear, and so I would not sleep for like months. I would be living off of like the least amount of sleep, and it just had this fear that someone wanted to hurt me. And what's interesting is the fear would always come when I was lying down. And when you guys listen to the regression video, you're going to see that when she dies, she's lying down in that bed that she hates. It's too small for
Yes.
her. And it's a little bit pitiful, you know, but she's lying down in that bed. And I connected the dot after the regression of that fear would always come the moment that I laid down in my bed, that like someone's coming to hurt me and that I'm not going to wake up in the morning because of who I am, because of my work that I do. And so her fear was that because she was in this moment of getting so close to her dreams, she was regularly performing in the palace. The king had nice things to say about her. The other wealthy people in the city had nice things to say about her. He had requested her to come back and to perform again. And so that was like as good as it could get for that era. And in that lifetime, I ended up getting really sick. And I had been sick a few times before. Most people most people outside of modern era got sick a lot.
Mm.
Living till you're old was very rare. It was expected that, you know, for a lot of our history, you didn't really live past 30 years old. And in that lifetime, I didn't even really think past 30 years old. I really thought at 14, 15, 16 that, you know, this is it. Like, this is my moment. And then after that, you know, I might die. I might be too old to do this. You know, it was a
Right.
very short lifetimes. And I ended up getting sick. And then I got very sick for about 2 weeks. And the girls in the house, you know, you're in a house full of teenage girls and they're all whispering and they're all gossiping. And there was one other girl who really did not, I felt that she did not like me. And I felt that she believed what I was doing was wrong. To have that much attention was to put them all at risk, that something bad. So she had this fear in her that she was projecting onto me. And I was really battling against it. I didn't want this fear. I wanted my dream more than I wanted to be afraid.
Right.
And as I was sick, and so that was the being seen part, right? Is that this other girl that I lived with, Shali,
Shali, yes.
Shali versus Mina, that she just believed that it was wrong. And so I had this feeling in my own lifetime that having this kind of attention, having these abilities, having the ability to channel anyone, anywhere, at any time, is that there might be something bad about it, that someone out there is going to really not want you to do that and hurt you. And so this Shali had been projecting this fear onto me. And Shali, I'll just kind of surprise everyone if you haven't watched the recording yet. Shali is incarnated right now as my dad.
Yes.
And so my father in this lifetime, him and I have always been at odds. He has never wanted me to be a public figure, to have any kind of attention. To him, it just seems very unsafe. And there is this fear in him. And it's not really a fear for me. It's really his own fear. You know, I can feel it coming up inside of him that something must have happened in one of his past lives where he was maybe a public figure, maybe famous, maybe had a lot of attention at one point, and someone hurt him, maybe even ended his incarnation. And so to him, even in this lifetime, it is still not a safe thing to do. He is not supportive of my work. He does not think that he doesn't even want to hear about it because he just doesn't
Wow.
think that it's something that I should be doing with
But
my life.
it's also an imprint for him because he was in that life and saw that you lost your life.
Right,
So for
exactly.
him, he's concerned, obviously, as your father, that if my daughter is out there being seen, someone's going to hurt her, or she's not going to live through this. So it's
Right.
so deep. It's so deep.
Mhm.
He doesn't understand it. But now it's interesting to see how it all unfolds today, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I've been kind of, I've only seen him maybe like once since our session, which was only last week, it was only a week ago. But I've been kind of trying to feel out the energy between us. Like, did the energy between Annie and Dad actually shift? Because I feel like the energy between Mina and Shali kind of came to conclusion. I realized so what I thought when I died in that lifetime was that all the girls were whispering and gossiping that Shali had poisoned Mina and that's why I was sick and that, I was probably going to die. And
Yes.
what's really interesting is one of the girls that started that rumor ended up being my best friend in this lifetime for many years.
Mm.
And one of the reasons that I ended the friendship was that I just felt like she was too gossipy. Like she wanted the tea all the time. Like we would get on the
Wow.
phone, she'd be like, "What is the tea?" And then she would spill all the tea. And I just felt like she was too gossipy. And I worried, like, what is she out there telling people about me and about my life?
Yes, yes. You didn't
So
trust her.
so I knew so many of the people from that lifetime, they'd been, I think in the recording I say like, oh, there's the girl from college. It was like one of my college friends that I had for many years. There was the woman who did RTT, the first person to kind of put me in a hypnosis.
Mhm.
She was there and probably
Wow.
others too. So my soul immediately started just picking up and recognizing. And that was when my soul would speak. My soul would speak when she was recognizing, identifying people across the lifetimes.
Mm.
And then when we were translating, like, my height or like how long the bed was or how old I was, my soul did all of those translations and communications because Mina has no idea. Mina doesn't know what 5 feet means. Mina has no idea how old she was. They didn't keep track of ages.
That's right.
So it was really interesting to feel like the different parts of me come forward to answer the questions so that we could have like the whole picture and understand it in our time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I loved holding space for you. How are you feeling now that it's over? How is this fear?
I feel great. I am sleeping better. I feel great. I just came out of it with this feeling like right after the session, I felt so alive. And we'd been on the call for like 4 or 5 hours. It was a long one because we talked before, we talked
Yes.
after to the group on TikTok. And then after they were gone, we talked even more.
Yes, we did.
So we had a long conversation and I felt so alive after the call. I was up and excited about life and about living and about my work and what I wanted to do until like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was just like, yeah, I just felt this surge of energy come through me because that part of me got reconciled and brought to conclusion. And it was like I just had more energy as a result of it. And I am sleeping better and I don't feel any fear around being seen. So like the visibility, it just feels like a non-issue anymore. It feels like I'm just ready to do even more and to be even more seen and to trust that this is my path and to trust that no one is going to hurt me unless I engage that belief, unless I create that reality. And so understanding what happened in that lifetime really helped me to like let go of that as a possibility and just trust myself and what I'm creating in this life. And yeah, I felt like there was so much more trust in myself because what I had really let go of at the end of that lifetime was trusting me to heal and to get through it. And I started believing what the other girls were saying, and I started taking on their beliefs, and I let that create ultimately the end of my reality in that lifetime, which was me dying. And I think it's a really powerful testament that, like, you're always creating your reality and you've got to be really choosy about what beliefs you engage in because they can become real, even the ones that are negative, even the ones you don't want. So this really helped me like put all of those beliefs to rest, and I just felt so whole and happy.
I love that. I'm feeling very called to share that this is a common theme for many people, that they don't realize that they sort of, they're peeking behind the curtain, that they're not fully showing themselves or showing up for themselves. Yesterday, I had an incredible session. It was actually an alien abduction therapy session. But the night before, they woke me up at 1:30, and I was told to do a past life regression on him first, because I was just going to take him straight away to his encounters. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I heard it, and then I repeated it in my head, because it's like, all right, we're doing a past life regression, and I guess that's what they want, not really knowing why. But the why was huge for him. And it was very short, because they just wanted to show him how the past life is affecting him today. And it was the same theme, Annie. It was him dropping into a desert. He's on the ground, barefoot, and 4 men on horses are racing towards him. And he was scared. He's like, they're coming for me. And they capture him, they bind him with rope, and they take him to a palace where there is a king or an emperor. He's thrown in a cell. And when I asked him what, he was very, very afraid. And what happens is, those feelings, because inside he already knows the outcome. And that's where their fear was coming from. I asked him why he was there. Why was he captured? He goes, oh, I know why. Because I have a gift. Like, he can see through, hear through the veil. He knows things. He sees the future. And he's been helping people, and the emperor caught wind of it and wanted him to show him his future. And when he was in front of the emperor, he saw the famine, the death, the horrible things that was the outcome of the future. But he refused to tell the emperor. He says, I can't tell him. I cannot. So basically, the emperor said, you're of no use to me. And there was nothing else except darkness, because we know that he didn't come out of it, right? So when I asked the guides, why was that so important for him before we go to the galactic part of, his session, it's because that life has been holding him back. He has so much to share today, and he's afraid to be seen, right? So much to share, and we doubt ourselves. It was so, so important for him. So I just really wanted to share that this is common for people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I see it a lot in my own work, because I mentor and coach, spiritual entrepreneurs who so deeply want to share their gift with the world, and so deeply want to be, that healer or that psychic or that channel, and to put that out there for the world. And nearly all have some sort of, we call it the witch wound or the persecution wound, or just that fear that something bad is going to happen if we are seen. And it almost always has to do with a past life where you had some sort of gift, where you were different and you were persecuted for it, or you were hurt for it, or perhaps had your incarnation ended for it. And I think the best thing we can do in this lifetime is resolve it and allow yourself to be exactly who you are and put your gift out there, because we're stepping into a totally new era, and each lifetime is different. They get to be different. We're telling different stories, and we don't have to tell the same story over and over again. Through regression and through concluding those lifetimes and allowing yourself to heal, like we did at the end of our session, you took me to the beautiful etheric healing place. And my soul communicated what the real lesson of that lifetime was. And that's when I felt the peace. That's when I felt like it was never that I was going to be hurt or punished for being who I am. It was that there was a lesson for me to learn that I couldn't see past the traumatic moment of my death and how it happened.
Well, I hope this helps the listeners out there that if you're afraid to be seen, let's explore it. Like you said, it's, finding out where this is coming from so you can step into your authentic self. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And we have such a beautiful channel transmission too that we will share on the podcast from Commander Lightbringer. We have some surprises that we'll share there. But so I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
It just kind of came to me. I was not planning this. So I think someone's steering the boat.
All right.
I'd like to ask you to honor us with a channel transmission. I believe there is some information, someone, or a consciousness that would like to come through for the listeners. So I'll have you let us know who's popping in right now.
Well, as usual, coming from me, it's the Arcturian Galactic Command.
Okay.
So for those listeners, I'm channeling a large part of my Arcturian self into about a decade of this lifetime. And Commander Lightbringer actually talks about that in our other transmission. And so this one is really coming from the 9D Council, the Arcturian 9D Council that is based on the Lightbringer ship. Commander Lightbringer is one of the eight oversouls who are part of that council. And these are their transmissions.
Thank you.
We are delighted to communicate with all of you again. We are observing your conversation and we are here to reinforce this conversation that you are having, encouraging all of those beautiful starseeds who have gone forth so boldly, so bravely into the incarnations on your planet and who are ready to have their gifts seen and received by those who are around you. This is of utmost importance in this day and age where you are existing. You are in the cusp of a new reality. You are on the cusp of a new age on your planet. You are on the cusp of an era where your divine gifts, where your divine light will be accepted and celebrated by all. That is perhaps the purpose of this coming together, the purpose of these explorations that Annie and Mayra have co-created together, a portal, if you will, a visibility portal that you can look through and see more of who you could be if you will allow. It is truly only your perception, your point of view that is holding any of you back from being seen in your gifts. And yes, each one of you has gifts or an affinity for the way that you prefer to engage with and direct energy. That is what you will call your gift to share with your communities around you. Perhaps not all in your reality will resonate with all of the gifts that all of you have, but a small group of them will. And this group will become your friends, your family in light, your community, those who you can help, those who you can be in love and exchange with. These are the communities, the networks that so many of you have been thirsting for, have been searching for, have been making yourself ready for. Now is truly the time on your planet for coming into these communities, for creating these connections and allowing yourself to be seen by one and then by many. You can do this through, yes, releasing these past life wounds, but also through making the conscious choice to engage the truth of who you are, to engage more of your authentic self. You are here to create. You are here to explore. You are here to imagine a new reality and then allow yourself to live it. You are here for the purposes of experimentation, creation, exploration. There is so much incredible energy available to each and every one of you. And it is our deepest wish for you to remember this in that lifetime, that precious lifetime that each of you is living, that unique story that each of you is telling, and for you to know that all of the other lifetimes are coexisting simultaneously. You are having these experiences, and when you heal one lifetime, you change the story of that lifetime. The Akashic record itself actually shifts in energy, and so you are then telling a story more whole and true to who you really are. And through all of these lifetimes, through all of these experiences, you are allowing yourself to become more of who you are, to become more of that true source frequency that is residing in each and every one of you. We love you, and we send this transmission with light.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Ooh, I've got chills.
Me too. That's
Oh.
those are I call them my dads. Those are my dads.
I love that.
So
Thanks,
yes,
dads.
yeah, thanks, dads. Yeah, they're my family and my guides and myself. And when you start to really explore the records and your lifetimes and more of these multidimensional personalities or identities that you have, you'll find that there's so many guides out there who are your dads, your
Yes.
moms, your star mothers, and who love you so much. And just like any parent would want their kid to have the whole world and to see their true potential, that's how your star family feels about you. They love you so much and they want you to have the whole experience here.
Absolutely. One of the most incredible experiences I had during the channel transmission from Commander Lightbringer during your session, which I highly, highly recommend for everyone to listen to it. Currently, just so you know, it is on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, but it is going to be part of the podcast as well. But on YouTube, you can actually see the video, right, rather than hear it. Was that I'm on that ship. I am on that ship, and Lightbringer, my friend now, he says, you're here with us. And that was so cool. And then I thought, well, I want to talk to me. Can I talk to me on the ship? And you graced me with such a beautiful moment with that aspect of me. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, it was really cool too. So when I channel, I have the voices coming through me, and you can tell it kind of shifts tone from Mina and her very young voice and her very youthful voice into more of this, like, Commander Lightbringer is now speaking. And so they kind of calibrate in, and I have the whole visual experience and sometimes other conversations with them while I'm channeling. And so I got to see the room. There's like the circular room, and you're there, and you have less form. You're more of just like this violet energy, and you're teaching all of the new I guess I would call them like the new recruits, or like the new volunteers that want to be a part of the Lightbringer experience. And they're all sitting in a circle around you, and they're all learning from you, and they get to ask you questions. And it's really that violet flame Saint Germain part of your consciousness. And it was just, yeah, it was just really, really cool. So I could like walk around that room while Commander Lightbringer's, rattling on about the new earth and giving their United Nations speech that they
Yes.
love to give. And yeah, so the thing to understand about Commander Lightbringer is that Commander Lightbringer's lifetime is so long as an Arcturian that it's actually a past life, a parallel life, and a future life for me. So I am like this experience that they have while they are Commander Lightbringer. And that part kind of trips me up a little bit, because I'm like, where are you in time and space? And they're kind of like, well, I'm all
Everywhere.
around you. Yeah, I'm all around you. And so for a portion of this life, I really channel them very heavily. And then I'll go on and start channeling more Pleiadians and more of the star mothers. And then I'll have my moms who will be on the podcast. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for you to give them a platform to have their messages received here on Earth. There are so many galactic families that are they're just so ready to be connecting with us and getting their message to their beloveds, to their children here, their star children, their star family here. They just want to connect with you so deeply. And so I really encourage the listeners, like, be open to connecting with your galactic family. Be open to feeling that tug inside the heart chakra that says, like, it's really them and they really love you and they really want to connect with you.
They do. They do. That's beautiful. Thank you for the reminder. So, Annie, let's talk about your offerings. I really want to share with everyone, and then how to find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mayra. So you can find me on wellspringofficial.com. That is the name of my business, and my work is The Wellspring. So wellspringofficial.com has all of my offerings. And I run the Ascension Academy, which is where I teach channeling and I teach Activate and Illuminate, which is how to start having your own experiences from seed to source. So the beginning of the soul's journey all the way through many evolutions back to source. So there's a lot of cosmic information and activation that can happen for you in those courses. They're also available a la carte if you want to check those out on wellspringofficial.com. Occasionally, I do offer custom activations, but you can always find my ready to listen activations in my activations library. That's also there. You can listen to the Luminary podcast everywhere that podcasts can be heard. You can find Luminary Annie on YouTube and you can listen to the podcast there. You can also get some extra little channel transmissions, extra videos, meditations, activations are available there. And you can hang out with me every single day on Instagram at Annie Perry Official, where I give you little micro activations, micro teachings about galactics or about ancient civilizations, cosmology, ascension. It's a really great place for you to maybe start checking out my work. And I do a lot of community stuff on my Instagram stories. So you might even catch one of the days when I do a free community channeling and I channel a little tidbit about you and your soul.
Thank you so much, Annie. Be sure to support all of her platforms to learn more about her. Check her out on her website. Her podcast also is amazing. So get your dose of Annie.
Thank you. Commander Lightbringer. That's
Commander Lightbringer, yes.
Joseph.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and my Akashic record self who's always teaching you everything you never knew that you needed to know about the whole cosmos. Yeah, thank you so much, Mayra.
Thank you, Annie. Thanks, everyone. Until next time.